What's up, nerds? It's Shane with the Guys at Magic, and today I have Hunter, and Hunter is giving us a $300 upgrade for his Rebellion Rising deck. Isn't that right, Hunter?
It sure is.
So let's not keep him waiting for too much longer. Let's just jump straight into it. Tell us about the commander you're keeping and what your plan is.
Yeah, so once again, if you guys haven't seen the $100 upgrade, I'd suggest going to take a look at that first, because this is kind of a sequel to it. I am sticking with Neyali Sun's Vanguard. Neyali Sun's Vanguard is 2, a red and a white for a 3/3 legendary creature human rebel. It says attacking tokens you control have double strike, and whenever one or more tokens you control attack a player, exile the top card of your library. During any turn you attack with the token, you may play that card. So the whole deck is themed around making a whole bunch of tokens, getting in with that damage, going wide, just absolutely destroying people, and also just churning through your deck, playing as many cards as possible, just going super wide.
I'm a little terrified because your $100 list, for it just being a $100 list, was incredibly scary to play against. So let's just jump into your ads. What are you adding for this 300?
Yeah, so you said it yourself, my $100 upgrade was really, really strong. So as you see on the screen here, I'm keeping every single card that you see in the list because it's pretty good. I did take out one creature from it. If you notice, there is no Sky Knight Vanguard. I took him out. I'm adding a different creature instead, just to make it better.
So like Hunter said, if you go down to the description below, you can check out the video he made for the 100 list if you wanted to see why he added these cards or any description about the deck that he's kind of incorporating here. Go down there and click on it. Give it a watch. But we're in 300 now, Hunter. Show me the big boy cards.
Yeah, so the big boy cards. We're going to start with the doublers. Obviously, we couldn't get away with putting these cards in the $100 upgrade because it would take up pretty much the whole budget. But we're adding it now. So Mondrak, Glory Dominus, and Anointed Procession. Pretty much the exact same card. The new Mondrak, Glory Dominus is 2 and 2 white for a 4/4 legendary creature by Rexian Horror. It says if one or more tokens would be created under your control, twice that many of those tokens are created instead. Has another ability where you can pay 1 and 2 Phyrexian white mana, meaning you can pay with either life or white mana, and sacrifice 2 other artifacts and or creatures, put an indestructible counter on Mondrak Glory Dominus. A fantastic brand new card. I originally didn't put this in the $100 upgrade because it was $40. At the time of recording this video, it is currently sitting at 34 and it is still dropping. So who knows? Maybe it will drop down low enough where you can slide it into the $100 upgrade. Anointed Procession is, however, still expensive, but it is getting the slot in the 300. 3 and a white for an enchantment. If an effect would create one or more tokens under your control, it creates twice that many of those tokens instead. So, like I said, the exact same text. One's on a creature, one's on an enchantment. Putting these on the field is just going to make our deck hum even more with even more tokens going wide, hitting in for that double strike damage. Anointed Procession and Mondrak, if you have both of them on the field, you're taking everything and you're multiplying it by 4 at that point because the replacement effects are not necessarily triggers. So if you're creating, for example, 2 tokens and both of these are on the field, you're making 8 tokens.
I have to say, I love these cards for your deck. I cannot. Actually, I was going to say I cannot wait to see it, but I'm actually kind of terrified to see it because we've already played a game without these cards, and these cards are going to push your deck way into the red, dude.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty nuts. I'm very excited.
All right, well, we saw those insane token doublers. You got any new red cards for us?
I do have some new red cards. Like I said before, I took out Sky Knight Vanguard. I'm throwing in Hanweir Garrison. Hanweir Garrison is 2 and a red for a 2/3 creature human soldier. It says whenever Hanweir Garrison attacks, put 2 1/1 red human creature tokens onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. So, very simple. Get this on the field, swing in, make those 2 1/1s. If you have one of our token doublers, it's coming in, swinging with 4 1/1s. So,
This is
pretty
nuts.
good.
Yeah, this is nuts.
And don't forget, if your commander's on the field, all 4 of those 1/1s now have double strike. Also, Hanweir Garrison does meld with Hanweir Battlements. We are adding that as well. I'll talk about it a little bit more in the land portion section. but because they do meld together, we'll talk about the meld because it's a creature. It melds into Hanweir the Writhing Township. It is a 7/4 legendary creature, Eldrazi Ooze. It's got trample and haste. And whenever Hanweir the Writhing Township attacks, you put 2 3/2 colorless Eldrazi creature tokens onto the battlefield tapped and attacking. So, similar to the Hanweir Garrison, you're just getting bigger creatures for the same effect.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, dude. I
Yeah,
like it a lot.
me too. The other red card I'm adding in here is a standard staple. It's a very good card, and it actually slides into this deck better than I thought it would. But it is Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Fable of the Mirror Breaker is 2 and a red for an enchantment saga. So as this enters, you start with chapter 1. It says create a 2/2 red goblin shaman creature token with whenever this creature attacks, create a treasure token. Chapter 2 says you may discard up to 2 cards. If you do, draw that many cards. And Chapter 3 is exile this saga, then return it to the battlefield transformed under your control. When it is transformed, it turns into the reflection of Kiki Jiki. It is a 2/2 enchantment creature goblin shaman, where it has an ability where you can pay 1, tap it to create a token that's a copy of another target non-legendary creature you control, except it has haste, sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. So we'll talk about the front side, Fable the Mirror Breaker. It makes us a little token that has double strike now with our commander on the field. And it makes treasure. So we're gaining mana from a 2/2 double striker. Fantastic. The chapter 2 clause just lets us get rid of any extra lands that we don't want anymore, or just cards that aren't doing it for us and we're looking for other stuff. Get even more token makers into the hand. Yes, please. And the reflection of Kikijiki is so good because it's creating a token that token will also have double strike. So let's say you had reflection of Kikijiki on the field and we just played a Hanweir Garrison the turn before. We're going to make a copy of the Hanweir Garrison, swing in with both Hanweir Garrisons, and that Hanweir Garrison has double strike and it's making the 1/1s. And the other original one's making the 1/1s. It's bonkers.
I'm gonna say good luck keeping track of all these damn triggers.
It's going to be a lot.
But yeah, this Fable the Mirror Breaker, I remember it from standard, and I'm sure it's gonna be an all-star in your deck as well, dude. Crazy.
Yeah, it fits in really nice. And hey, even if you just need like an extra token to do double strike damage, create a copy of a creature token if you want to.
And also that 2/2 token that you're creating from Fable, when it attacks, you're making the treasure. If you do have one of your token doublers, you're gonna get double that. That's crazy value, bro.
It really is. Yeah, just the amount of treasures you can make with the token doublers as well. Fantastic.
Do you have any new artifacts for this deck?
Yep, throwing in a couple more artifacts into the deck. This first one, Halo Fountain from New Capenna. It's 2 and a white for an artifact. As an ability, we can pay 1, tap it, untap a tapped creature you control, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. As another ability, we can pay 2 white, tap it to untap 2 creatures you control to draw a card. And you can pay 5 white mana, tap it, untap 15 tapped creatures you control. You win the game. So this is becoming one of my favorite artifacts for pretty much any token deck that's running white. This is just an alternate win con if you can make those 15. And after you're finished attacking, just getting value by untapping those double strikers to be up on blocks is pretty good.
Yeah, I don't know how many times you're gonna be untapping 15 because with your deck, 15 is probably gonna kill somebody, but just the fact that you said to untap anything to give him the ability to block again, that's nuts. This card's gonna be really strong in your deck.
Yeah, I mean, if we attack one player with 15 creatures, they're pretty much dead. And this
Yeah,
just allows us to untap and just win the entire game. So we don't even worry about other players.
I hate that.
Halo Fountain, fantastic. Thank you so much. The other artifact I'm adding is the brand new sword. That is Sword of Forge and Frontier. It is 3 generic mana for an artifact equipment. It says the equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has protection from red and green. Also, whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn. You may play an additional land this turn. It's got an equip cost of 2. So if we go ahead and equip this to one of our double striking tokens when we attack, we are getting the trigger off of this sword twice, and we're getting the trigger off of our commander as well. So getting the ability to exile the top cards of our library to play is fantastic. With the sword, you're being able to play 2 additional lands per turn if you get in with that double strike damage.
Yeah, there's nothing bad about getting card advantage like this, dude. This is nuts.
Yeah, the card advantage will go so fast.
So besides Elspeth, you added in the 100. You putting any more planeswalkers in this deck?
Yeah, so I actually overlooked this one, and going back and trying to find out what I wanted to add for 300, this one popped out on the page, and I was like, whoa, wait a minute. This fits really well in the deck. It is Zariel, Archduke of Avernus. 2 and 2 red for a starting loyalty of 4. It's got a +1 that says creatures you control get +1, +0, and gain haste until end of turn. As a 0 that says create a 1/1 red devil creature token with when this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. And it has a -6 that says you get an emblem with at the end of the first combat phase on your turn, untap target creature you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase. So this Planeswalker, not only does it give everything haste when we want to do extra damage, our attacking tokens now get that additional 1 power boost. Fantastic. It makes a token that has double strike that when it dies, it can deal 1 damage. And the -6 gives us an extra combat step. Count me in.
Yeah, it's wild that her plus is that Anthem effect. That's nuts. It's really good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Pump the board, do extra damage.
Right on, man. Well, now that we're in the 300 as well, did you do any land tuning?
Yeah, because we're in the 300, I'm going to add some a bit more expensive lands. First big one is Arid Mesa. Arid Mesa is just a land that you can tap and pay 1 life, sacrifice it, search your library for a mountain or plains, put on the battlefield, shuffle. Very simple and to the point. You can't get better than Arid Mesa. Cliff Top Retreat also going into the deck. It says it enters tapped unless you control a mountain or plains. Tap it to add a red or white. Like I said before, we are adding Handweir Battlements. It is the other half of that land that attaches to Handweir Garrison to make the big Eldrazi. It is a land that you can tap to add a colorless to your mana pool. You can also pay a red, tap it, target creature gains haste until end of turn. And another ability where you can pay 3 and 2 red, tap it if you both own and control Handweir Battlements and a creature named Handweir Garrison. Exile them, then meld them into Handweir the Writhing Township. It's a fantastic card because not only does it just have the ability to give us mana, it has the ability to give one of our potentially giant tokens haste right away. And also, it makes the giant Eldrazi. So that's the one of the coolest parts as well. And of course, what is a deck without one of the pathways? Needle Verge pathway. It is the one that can come in for a red, or on the backside, it can tap for a white.
Yeah, those are some pretty solid lands to be thrown in your 300, man. So those all the ads for your 300, man?
That is going to do it for all of the ads for the 300. Once again, we are keeping most of the 100 intact and adding these very spicy new cards into the deck to make it even better. Very excited for the deck.
Yeah, I'm very terrified. Well, we're at that point now that we all love. You showed me the amazing ads. What are you cutting for these cards, dude?
Yeah, so first things first, once again, on the screen, all of the cuts from the 100 are staying the same. I didn't like those cards. If you wanted to check out why I didn't like them, link in the description to listen to or watch the $100 upgrade. But now we're doing the $300 upgrade, and we saw the other cards that I added, so I have to make room. So these 3 I'm getting rid of. These are some friends that we're saying goodbye to. This first one is Loyal Apprentice. It is 1 and a red for a 2/1 creature human artificer. It has haste. It has lieutenant. It says at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. That token gains haste until end of turn. I looked at this card and I said, wow, that's not bad value, except when you look at it like in the worst case scenario, you don't have your commander out on the field. It's just a 2/1 with haste.
Feel that. I feel that, man.
and I'm not here for it. We're also getting rid of Prava of the Steel Legion. Prava of the Steel Legion is 2 and a white for a 1/4 legendary creature cat soldier. It says as long as it's your turn, creature tokens you control get +1/+4, and it has the ability where you can pay 3 and a white to create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. Pretty expensive to get that 1/1, and it's not really boasting too much when it comes to our power, and we're trying to do a lot of damage power-wise. So nice on the toughness, but it's not doing it. And finally, we are saying goodbye to the sad robot himself, Solemn Simulacrum. 4 generic mana for a 2/2 artifact creature golem. When Solemn Simulacrum enters a battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, put that card onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle, and when Solemn Simulacrum dies, you may draw a card. This is in pretty much every single precon. It's a great way to ramp, but it seems like it always gets cut when we get in these bigger budget decks. He's just not making the cut. He doesn't do enough fast enough.
Yeah, he's one of those cards that's great. Great, great, great in precons, and then when you grow, he sadly goes.
He sadly goes.
All right, well, we got those three. Got anything else you're cutting?
Yeah, so these next ones, it's the $300 upgrade, so I just figured they're not as strong anymore in the 300 as they were in the 100. The first one, Chain Reaction. Chain Reaction is 2 and 2 red for a sorcery. It says it deals X damage to each creature, where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. Obviously, we're the one that's probably going to be making the most creatures. So if we're the most creatures, we probably don't want to blow up the board. But it doesn't even blow up the board, it just does damage. So
Yeah,
Chain Reaction's getting out of the deck.
makes sense.
Mask of Memory also getting the boot. It is 2 generic mana for an artifact equipment. It says whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw 2 cards. If you do, discard a card. Equip cost of 1. It was just one of those equipments that I was like, you know what is way better? The new sword. So, Mask of Memory, goodbye. And another equipment that's getting out of the deck is Mace of the Valiant. 2 and a red for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each charge counter on Mace of the Valiant and has vigilance. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a charge counter on Mace of the Valiant. Equip cost of 3. Now, this could be a very, very strong card. We've seen this card be very strong in token decks before. It can get pretty out of hand pretty quickly. You're putting a massive, massive amount of creatures to give a bunch of charge counters to make this a really big thing. But at the end of the day, I looked at all of the other brand new equipments that are in the deck that also make a token with them coming in. This was the odd man out. So Mace of the Valiant, sorry.
Yep, you hate to see it. And finally, you changed out some lands. So what are the lands you're cutting?
Yep, changing out some lands, saying goodbye. Boros Garrison, it is the land that enters the battlefield tapped. When it enters the battlefield, return a land you control to its owner's hand. You can tap it to add a red and a white. Bounce lands, they just don't do it for me. Somehow, I feel like we always end up with them in our opening hand, which means you're going to have to bounce something to your hand and discard a card. Shane, I
Yeah,
believe it just happened to you recently.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's not too great. Forgotten Cave and Secluded Steep also getting the axe here. They both enter the battlefield tapped. They both tap for the respective color, red and white. They do have cycling of a red and white as well on each. They are just slow lands that come in tapped. I
Get
get
him
it.
out of here.
It gives you the option to card draw with cycling, but I'd rather just play a land. And one singular mountain is getting out of the deck.
Well, we did it. Is that it? Is that the entire upgrade, dude?
That is going to do it. That is the entire upgrade.
Well, we gave you your lovely budget of $300. What'd you come to?
As of recording this video, my grand total of all of the additions is actually $296.35.
So you
Just
made it.
shy under the budget. Yeah, absolutely.
Nice, dude. Well, good job.
Thank you.
Well, this deck terrifies me, dude. You did a really good job, and I'm not looking forward to playing against it.
I am looking forward to playing it. It is
Oh, we
very
know.
exciting.
We
I went
know.
and picked up the Precon, and I'm going to be doing these upgrades in Paper Magic, and it's going to be awesome.
Fantastic, fantastic. Well, that'll do it for us here. Make sure you check the description down below, guys, if you want to check out the Mox Field, see Hunter's deck list, maybe see if you want some of these upgrades for yourself. Check out the link. Also, while you're down there, you can check out our links to our socials, which is TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. It's all just at Guys at Magic. Make sure you give Hunter a nice thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, leave us some comments. Hunter wants to know, what are your thoughts on this? Maybe you missed a card that you thought would be perfect in this deck. We love hearing feedback. We love growing. We love getting better at building and upgrading decks. Isn't that right, Hunter?
Absolutely. If I love reading comments that suggest, why didn't you do this card? And I'm like, why didn't I do that card? Because
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
it's
You
my
guys
favorite
have
part,
great
dude.
opinions.
My favorite part, because I'm like, Magic's such a large game. I don't know. I love seeing cards that I haven't even thought about. Well, we'll see you in the next one. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Right, Hunter?
Bye.
Bye.